Hey, it's Justin with Mastery Tree. In our focus to gain more freedom, today we're going to talk about a tool and really it's a concept and a skill that you can develop. And it's something that as you do develop it, as you do get better at this, it makes achieving the goals, achieving the things that you're trying to accomplish so much more possible. I don't know that it makes it much easier. It probably does. It definitely simplifies and speeds things up. And that skill is clarity. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I was in college, I took an art class, and my art teacher, pretty early in the class, he asked everyone to draw a leaf. And he told everybody, as you're drawing this leaf, just, don't worry or stress, because some of us, I included, it was our first art class, and when he told us that we were going to show each other our leaves, stress went up, and he said, I really want you to just do the best that you can, go off of memory, but he says, I want you to try to draw a leaf so that someone else will know what it is. They'd be able to tell if it was out in nature or whatever, they'd be able to see and recognize it. And so we each drew our leaves and passed them around. And I remember as we passed each of the drawings around, how it was fun, because in some ways it was easy to start judging and saying, well, my leaf's a little better than this one or not. And but it was interesting though. Basically every drawing you could tell was a leaf. It was pretty obvious. Some were very symmetrical, some were more decorative, had more detail, but it was very clear that everyone had drawn a leaf. And so the thing that we kind of thought that the lesson was about was just this idea of maybe seeing people's personalities, or I don't know, we had different ideas of what he was actually trying to accomplish in this. And I'll show you really quick just a picture of mine. This is, my art teacher, he had us keep drawings. I happened to keep these two. This was just, and I thought I did a good job. I think it looks like a leaf. It has the darker outline, and the veins are a little bit lighter. The best picture of it, I didn't really. Anyways, the thing is though, he stopped us and he said, as this next couple weeks goes by, he says, I want you to have this lesson in mind. He says, every one of you guys drew a symbol of what you think a leaf looks like. He says, I guarantee that none of you actually drew a leaf like in your mind's eye. If you really saw a picture of a leaf, you wouldn't have drawn it the same. And he talked about this idea that how we convert, and especially if we haven't practiced and if we haven't had a chance to gain this concept of how we see things. He says, first of all, all of you guys, and it was true. It's like in mine and basically everyone else. He says you all used pretty distinctive lines. He says that doesn't exist in nature. He says those, especially on leaves, he's like, you might think that there are lines there, but they're not. And you would never see anything like this in nature. And all of us were kind of surprised and kind of taken aback, like, what does he mean? What is he gonna? And anyways, and I was surprised by it until the next couple of weeks. He taught us how to see changes in light and where shadows really sit. And so my next drawing of a leaf turned out like this. And I apologize, I probably should have prepped a little bit better for this, but the funny thing is, and there are no actual lines in that drawing. It's all just changes, of darkness and light. There are edges that are more dark, and there's edges of areas that are more light. And when I was looking at this leaf and drawing it, I actually had a leaf that I was drawing at the time, and it was just fascinating to me. It was the first time that I'd ever thought about that or realized that some of the veins, some of the wrinkles, like those were the light areas where I would have drawn a line, and that was supposed to be white instead on the drawing. And so the reason I tell you this story is clarity is a lot like this. We might think that we're clear on things. We might, in our heads, especially with setting goals and New Year's resolutions, it's very easy to think that you have a clear idea of what you're going to run for or what you're after. And a really good test, a good tool, and in fact I would invite you to share a New Year's resolution or a goal with someone else. The reason for this is it forces you to, it's just like how the teacher asked us to draw the leaf in the beginning. It forces you to get it out there, to try and describe it. And sometimes, like this first leaf that I drew, sometimes it comes out and it doesn't come out as clear as you would like it to be, and you realize, wow, I didn't really have as much of an idea of all the details as I thought. The more that you put some time and effort into thinking, what does life look like when I accomplish this? How am I going to feel? What are the things involved? Those are the things that are going to give the clarity of how the leaf will actually look. So I invite you to take a little bit of time to make some of those distinctions, and especially if you can share it with someone else. It's really powerful. So that's it for now.